Welcome to the 10 TV Plus weather update. We're going to be breaking down everything you need to know with the system, the latest updates, model runs, everything. It'll all be right here. This is the order in which we're going to go. I'm going to start off with your currents. We're also going to take a look at your watches and warnings that are currently in effect. Then we'll go into where the system is. We'll talk about snow amounts. Then we'll talk about those wind chills, and then we'll take a final look at your full 7 to 10 day at the very end. So let's get right into it. We're going to be starting off with a look right now at widespread winter storm warnings in effect. Normally, these aren't issued for systems like this because we're really not going to see a lot of snowfall. But the reason why they went ahead, National Weather Service went ahead and issued these is because we've got a combination of a lot of things working together that's making this situation particularly dangerous. So not only do we have widespread potential for snow, we've got rain ahead of time, falling temperatures, so widespread potential for icing associated with it. We're also going to see some really gusty winds. Again, 30 to 50 miles per hour possible through tomorrow. That's going to drop our wind chills into a dangerous range. And to top it all off, we're heading into Christmas weekend. It's the biggest travel time of the year, and everyone is going to be out and about, and there's just a lot of hustle and bustle. So really, this is just a perfect storm, if you will, of ingredients to make a pretty dangerous situation. So not only do we have those winter storm warnings in effect, but we're also talking about some wind chill warnings in effect because of the wind chills that we'll see tomorrow. Again, very cold. Right now, not too bad, holding on to 40s, and this is pretty much where we stay until around midnight. So our cold front is going to pass through. Until then, we're sitting in the warm sector of the storm, so we still have a lot of that southerly flow, keeping temperatures well above freezing. Currently, wind gusts, very light, staying around 5 to 15 miles per hour for most spots, a few areas picking up to 20 miles per hour. This will be changing though. So here's where our system is sitting currently. Michigan really seeing some widespread impacts, into Indiana also seeing some of those. Here in Ohio, not a lot is happening just yet, but of course that will be changing. We're kind of in the perfect point of this system to see a lot of different impacts like I've already mentioned. We've seen some off and on rain through the daytime hours, but we're getting ready to see some heavy stuff. Actually, watching a little bit of a changeover start here in Bell Fountain. So the first thing we're going to see is on radar. We'll see that changeover, but it might take a little bit longer for the entire air mass all the way down to the surface to reach that below freezing point. Once we see temperatures hit 32 and below, then we start to see the freeze, then we start to see the snow accumulation. So the first thing we're just going to be watching is that changeover on radar. So we're seeing a little bit of that now. We're also going to see some heavier rain ahead of that initial line. Now is time for models. So we're going to start off with a wider picture view here. Right now, most of the models are still coming in with that official line, this freezing point here where we're going from above freezing to below. That's still coming in around midnight for Columbus. So the central portion of the state waiting a little bit longer, but we're already seeing that changeover for other areas. Now, the models are also increasing in the span of this system. So they're bringing us a little bit more snow for a longer period of time. Now, I don't think this is going to change our totals too much for now, but it is going to continue to bring us snow chances through the overnight through 4 to 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's likely that we even see some light to moderate snow showers continue until after 8, maybe even into 9 or 10 tomorrow morning. So that's what we're seeing. We've got that line coming in a little earlier, but snow chances are lingering just a little bit later. All right, so that's model number 1. Let's take a closer look. We're going to go in a little tighter here and just look at central Ohio. So again, 10 to 11 o'clock, we're starting to see this initial line push through. Winds begin to shift. Actually, if that's where you want to find, if you ever want to find a cold front on a map, just look for the wind shift. You can see it here, south to a bit of a northwesterly shift, and that's where our cold front is sitting right here. So that's going to be pushing through, dropping temperatures from the 40s back down to the 30s and then into the 20s and teens. We're now sitting at midnight. See that cold air moving in very quickly. We're also going to have gusty winds. This is the kind of front that as it rolls through, you're going to know it. There's so many fronts that we have that pass that you're like, oh, I didn't know a cold front was coming through today. Well, today you're not going to miss it if you're up because these are going to be strong winds. Again, we're going to see that shift and it's going to get colder very quickly. So this model, much like the previous one, is also bringing in that cold air. It's also keeping snow around for just a little bit longer. And this model is also dropping temperatures a little bit further. Some spots down below 0 early tomorrow morning, and that does not help us out at all when it comes to wind chills. So we'll keep tracking this out through the next couple hours. So 7 a.m., few more spots now dropping below 0. Wind still very strong out of the west. Snow continuing. Same story. Could see this continue until around 9 to 10 tomorrow morning. By lunchtime, though, we should be done with most of it. Maybe a few flurries, but that's about it. All right, so now we're going to talk about snowfall. So really, this hasn't changed much. We've been pretty consistent. The models have been fairly consistent as well. We're looking at a widespread 1 to 3. To the north, 2 to 4. We could see some locally higher amounts. One thing with this system as well is all of that wind is going to blow the snow around. So measuring this is going to be very difficult because you're going to get drifts everywhere and blowing snow, and you can only get an accurate measurement on a flat surface it's not grass. So that's going to be difficult to do, but generally speaking, around 1 to 3 for most spots. Now, the main concern I don't believe is the accumulating snow. I think it's going to be a combination of the wind and the type of snow we're getting. It's that powdery stuff that's going to be picked up by the wind, and that's going to cause a lot of issues when it comes to visibility, which will be a big concern throughout Friday. Now, the other main thing, and the thing that I'm the most concerned about, it's the cold, all right? Because we're seeing a huge pocket of Arctic air come south, and it hasn't been moderated much. It hasn't warmed up much. We're holding on to temperatures in the single digits for most of tomorrow, and right now, as we look off to the north, the air mass that's moving in, wind chills are already down to 39 below in Bismarck, 34 below in Minneapolis, and 32 below in Hastings. So just very, very cold air, and that's pretty much what we're going to be looking at through tomorrow afternoon. So winds are gradually going to be picking up as the system rolls through. So we start off with light winds, but we're up to around 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts for most by 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Those continue to ramp up through the day. Then we've got 40 to 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts. These are the winds that if you have anything light, whether it is an inflatable snowman in your front yard or you've got a trash can that you haven't put away, it is going to be down the street. We are talking very, very strong wind gusts. This is even the kind of weather that's going to mess up your storm door if it gets caught in the wind. So take it easy. Make sure you have everything secured outside tonight if you can. If not, get out before it's gone. We do see winds stay strong throughout Friday. By Friday evening, they start to back down, but wind chills will still remain an issue through Friday, into Friday night, and into Christmas Eve. So here's a look at your wind chills. So right now, of course, not bad. We're not really dealing with any wind chills, period, because winds are fairly light. But as that line gets closer, as that cold front approaches, temperatures drop, so do wind chills. We step out the door tomorrow morning with wind chills of 25 below. We're seeing some of the coldest air associated with this system in central Ohio. That is our major impact, okay? We're down to 31 below by 11 o'clock tomorrow. Right around lunchtime when we see those winds peak, that's when we'll see the lowest temperatures for our wind chills. Air temperatures are going to struggle to get out of the single digits. We're going to be down to 0 in Columbus by tomorrow morning, and that's also a major factor in this. Once we get to 20 below and colder, we start to have to talk about frostbite times. So a major concern when we get this cold with wind chills, even briefly at 31 below, is it increases our risk for frostbite. So now any exposed skin tomorrow can get frostbite within 30 to even 10 minutes, especially when we get up to those higher numbers. So we're gonna have to keep a really close eye on that. Be careful, also take care of pets. They can also deal with frostbite. So as we head into Friday evening, winds start to die down, so we will see our wind chills warm up just a little bit, not much. We're still at 24 below in Columbus, feeling very, very cold across much of the state as well. Overnight, we've got wind chills improving even further as winds start to die down even more. So Saturday morning, we wake up with only 17 below, slight improvement, but still bitterly cold. So Saturday's still gonna be pretty cold. We're gonna kind of wrap things up now, talk again about the major impacts, the things that we want to be the most aware of. So of course, it's the cold. We've also had the rain throughout the day. We've got that cold front coming through. It's going to cause something called a flash freeze, which is just where temperatures fall so fast that we see any liquid, any water on roadways is going to freeze faster than it can dry out. So this is why we've got potential for a light glazing of ice, but that is still more than enough to put a little bit of stress on trees or power lines. So watch out for falling limbs. Any weak limbs are likely to come down, especially once we get those wind gusts up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. Isolated power outages, definitely a concern. concern. Slick spots will be on sidewalks, roads, likely in your driveway as well. Just take it easy. And yeah, careful walking and driving throughout your Friday. We do see a little bit of improvement, and we're going to have time to get things melted by the end of the weekend. But until then, we're going to be cold enough to keep some of that around. So do remember on roadways, once we get temperatures falling down to around, we see those temperatures falling down below 0, below 20 degrees, it dramatically drops how effective salt is on roadways. So we are going to be well into the category of seeing that into tonight and into tomorrow. So just take it easy, take it slow. Here's your 7-day forecast. Again, we're going to be down to 3 degrees for your high on Friday. Very, very cold. Our coldest wind chill, around 31 below is what we're looking at right now. Saturday, we do start to warm things up. 9 degrees, that's our high, that's our warmth. We do get back to 14 by Sunday. We've got more 20s in the forecast by Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday also looks a little bit better, back up to 37. We've got 40s and 50s in the forecast through Friday and into the following weekend.